Oracle earnings. Oracle had a big week this week. The company, in my opinion, Pat, I think both of us have had a chance to get a little closer, get to know the company a little better over the last year. And the company's doing some good things. Its earnings this quarter, they sit right in the middle of what I would say, the big SaaS explosion and the traditional slow growth OEM IT space that we've looked at this year, right? So their legacy database on-prem hardware deployments have kind of been stagnant to almost soft this year. You're seeing growth down 3, 4, 5%. Good news is their big business has been moving increasingly to cloud and the cloud licensing, and that business is growing, and it's year over year growing. Company saw 9.8 billion against just beating its earnings, but also saw about a 2% year over year. They also beat on earnings per share as they've been able to maintain their margins during this period. And this has to do with two things, Pat: cloud, and cloud. That's 4 things, and then it's cloud. And SaaS, we like SaaS and cloud and chips, but SaaS and cloud have been very good for them. So what's going on with the SaaS and cloud business is we're seeing 20+% growth for their NetSuite business, 30+% for their Fusion business. These are their SaaS in the cloud offers. By the way, the Fusion, I believe, is the technology that Oracle uses to close its own books. And I know we're running long. Sorry, got distracted. But it's the tech they use to close their own books. And they go from close of their quarters to announcing earnings in 10 days. Think about that, though, in the industry. That's pretty cool. And I believe that's on Fusion. So 30%. And then you had the big cloud, by the way. And Larry Ellison said we grew over 100%. Well, let's give full credit, Larry. You're not one to not take full credit. It was 138% growth year over year on your Gen 2 cloud. Now, as I said when I went on TV earlier about this topic, I said the big opportunity here is it's growing enough. Okay. The cloud industry as a whole is growing and growing and growing. So everyone wants to say, is Oracle growing enough? Yes, it's growing enough. It's growing triple-digit percentages, Pat, against an industry that's still at about 25% saturation. So yes, of course, Oracle wants to beat AWS and wants to beat Azure, but Oracle just continuing to grow at this rate, whether it's the Fusion apps growing at this rate, which is equal to what Salesforce and Microsoft are growing in their cloud apps in that same range. And the cloud, they're growing at the rate that's actually faster. So really solid overall. And yes, I hogged it all, Pat, but you know what? You took the Cisco section, so I took a little extra here.
Okay. Yeah. So the big highlights for me, I think they were similar. Now, biggest highlight was Fusion ERP at 33%, NetSuite ERP at 21%, and that's just coming right out of SAP. There is no, I have no doubt that is the case, and they Oracle keeps moving quarter after quarter with this. And while I was glad to see the triple digit OCI Gen 2 hit it, I still thought it needed to be more than that because Gen 2 is not that old. So your growth had to be significant. But what Larry said on the call made me feel better when he said, we ran out of capacity. We just ran out of capacity. We couldn't take any more. And they were going to work on their CapEx to open more data centers. That made me feel a lot better. And I did also like, this was a change, right? Their earnings were 20 minutes shorter than it typically is usually Larry Ellison was going to go down big customer wins, but I'm going to help him do it. Some of the ones that caught my attention were Equinix, T-Mobile, and First Solar. And I really do love it because I think in certain areas of the business, particularly OCI and cloud Fusion apps, I think they need to show that, hey, the water's fine. Come on in. Look at all these people taking advantage of our IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So I think those are very meaningful, and these customer stories are not just a bunch of blow-offs. And particularly I like, because Larry points the competition that they came from.
Yeah, you make a lot of great points. And sorry I hogged that one. I got the list backwards. I don't know. Maybe we should stop doing these at 6 o'clock at night on a Friday when my brain is not so,
6:30. I know. 30 here. No, let's keep.
I'm doing my best Joe Kernan impression from Squawk Box. I'm just all over the place. Like you're like, what's that guy doing? I don't know. It's Friday.
It's all good, man.
I'm having a little fun, but you know what? We covered the ground, and so there's the challenge back to Oracle. I said 138% is enough. Pat says more. Either way, keep on growing.